is James Mathers at NAB 2018 for the Digital Cinema Society and New Bay Media. I'm here at the Dedolight booth with the Dedo Weigert. Can you tell us about your latest technology?
A lot can be said about LEDs. There are a lot of fairy tales about it. One of them is that they make no heat. So they make a lot of heat. And if you want to build them compact for the focusing lights, then you need to find solutions. And that involves, I'm afraid to say, a bad word.
The fan.
The fan that irritates sound people. So either you find the way the politicians deal with it, find a new vocabulary, say it's called active cooling, sounds better, but doesn't influence the noise. So what we do is we found a way to have a fan that you can't hear. And that wasn't easy, but we've achieved it for the whole series of what we call our turbo lights. The most successful one at the moment is in the size of a 40-watt light, 2 light sources, 90 watt to have a bicolor light. And that's a very powerful light and still is lightweight. That's an ideal solution for, and very acceptable for mobile teams.
Let me see if we can hear it. I imagine we couldn't.
If you were to put your ear right next to the fan, it would sound like a lazy bee in neighbor's garden. If you put your ear in front, you don't burn it up, but you can't hear anything.
And if you let the LEDs get hot, then they don't last very long, right?
If an LED gets up to 85 degrees centigrade, it gets very sick. At 100, it dies. And so we've got to stay away from that as far as we can. Then we've got a light that is, for some people, much more difficult to understand, that we built a miniature light, a puppet light, and packed a lot of output power into it. It's this light here, and we put 2 times 40-watt LED power into it to have it as a bicolor light, and it can accept all the accessories. It focuses like a Dedolight, has perfect light and color distribution, and it is a tiny kit that allows people to have a very small package that's small enough to be taken on board of an aircraft, so you can take it, grab it, run with it for the mini team. And I sometimes have called it the ladies' handbag. It has even miniature stands on top of it, and if they're not long enough, you can extend them. And it's professional lighting quality as is used for the most demanding tasks in the smallest possible package, including background projections, all the illusions of background colors, patterns, projecting images that you've taken 5 minutes ago on the iPhone, print them out on any color printer, stick them in there, project them, and create illusions of depth and space.
And a whole lighting kit inside, something you can carry on to an airplane and put in the overhead bin.
Yeah, but if you use such a small light on a person, it's aggressive because the surface is small. So we can add a wonderful, pretty large size, gentle softbox, make it very human-friendly light. And in the same kit, there are 2 of those softboxes included.
So the same light that makes a projection beam also is over here with the softbox.
Yeah. And of course, bicolor is really desirable for all the mobile work. Then we've also got very powerful studio lights, 300 watt, that can open the door also to reflected light, and that's another issue that we're deeply involved in, using 4 different reflector characters. And it's a little bit difficult to understand that when you use something that works like a mirror, but it isn't a mirror, you create a virtual light source. And that means the actual light source where the light effectively comes from is way behind the fixture. So you create an enormous distance in spaces that you don't have. And that creates the impression of natural light, and it cheats the square law. People now can move without much change of intensity. So we're very deeply involved in it. And not only do we have the big parallel beam light, the big mother that some people have preferred to 6K mole beams and 18Ks because it works more effective in that way. But we also created for all of our focusing lights parallel beam adapters, optics that you can slide in front of the light, and that's little miracles. Like for this size on our 400 watt HMI light, in spot we have a 4-degree angle. So we put this thing in front and we have 4-degree again.
That's always been a specialty for you, and your original small tungsten lights, it was all about lenses.
But now, angle is not changed, but we have double the light. And on some of the smaller lights, we go up 3 times and 4 times. So parallel beam is the prerequisite for reflected light. To have the far reach, to have the virtual light source, and that can become a revolution in the way you set lights, because you can clear the set of a lot of paraphernalia, of stands and flags and others. And on one hand, it's with a big light, suitable for drama production. With the LED lights, we've cut down on a studio simulation that would usually take 30 kilowatt of traditional Fresnel lights to 790 watt. And we have a very high foot candle value, and it gives the feeling of a very detailed and structured light, sometimes even too structured for the multi-camera television shows. So we add our LED soft lights to it to make it gentler at will, adding that in levels that you can decide. And since they're bicolor, you can make it warmer, friendlier, cooler at will. And so the mixture of the focusing lights, the parallel beam adapters, and the LED soft lights makes it quite interesting.
Mixing all the technologies.
Yeah, and the advantages of saving power, but also creating a completely new approach to create spaces and the illusion of depth to an image, a 3-dimensionality, which is part of the magic that we're trying to do, because a one-eyed camera can only produce a 2-dimensional image. So we've got to create the illusion of a 3-dimensional world. Beyond that, we have some new panel lights. Among those, one that I'm doing together with David Pringle, Luminous Aura, and that runs normally at 500 watt, but can run just as well boosted to 1,000 watt. And you can couple 2 of those lights, and then you have 2,000 watt, often even too much light. So I'm suggesting that we also build a huge softbox for it, to have a large area for really gentle soft light. And okay, then we've also introduced our first multicolor light.
What's lighting us now?
That is something that multicolor lights you can find everywhere. Now, usually they're RGBW, red, green, blue, and white. For effects and show, fine, beautiful, versatile, all the colors you want. Me too. But not really perfect for skin tones. So this is one step further. It's RGBWW.
Oh, an extra white?
Cold white, warm white. And when you mix all those, you can fill up the spectrum and also have the same multicolor light suitable for skin tone rendition. And that's been one of our key issues, not only in 5 different spectrometers and their readings and the scientific approach and all the figures you get for the light, but that's not what the camera sees, because unfortunately many CMOS cameras see light, LED light, very different. So we're conducting endless tests, skin tone, reference light, like halogen light, and LED light, and make them match. And that took us 8 years to conquer that for all the different cameras. In the measurements and what you publicize in CRI, expanded CRI, TLCI, TM30, and all the wonderful new ways of evaluating spectrometry, and the only thing that really counts for us is the image on the screen. And that's seen through the eye of the camera, and that is seen by a sensor. And if they react differently to LED light, then you've got no standard. And finally, we've achieved LED light quality that satisfies all the different cameras in a similar way. And that's what we're very proud of.
We appreciate you. Keep on innovating for us. Thank you, Dedo.
Thank you.